Hi, welcome back to this channel. I'm Caitlin, and I read books. To be exact, I have read 44 books from January to June. These are all the physical books that I own that I've read this year. Everything else I read this year has been from the library or I read it on this bad boy. Okay, we're gonna start with nonfiction. Notes on Directing by Frank Hauser and Russell Reich. This is a very short guide on how to direct for the stage. I don't have a lot to say about it. I did not rate it. It has some helpful tips and tricks about being a director in here. And there's also things that I don't agree with. For example, they say that playwrights should never direct their own work, which is what I was doing when I read this book. A Mystery of Mysteries, The Death and Life of Edgar Allan Poe by Mark Dawidziak. This is a very slow biography about the last few months of Edgar Allan Poe's life. He was a very mysterious man. If you're a huge Poe stan, you might enjoy this one. This was honestly kind of boring. I listened to an audiobook and the narrator was just very monotonous. So if you want to check this out, I recommend picking up the physical copy. Ayawati on Ayawati, A Cinematic Odyssey by Richard Ayawati. It's very, very unique. I'm just going to read the blurb for you. In this book, Richard Ayawati, actor, writer, director, and amateur dentist, reflects on his cinematic legacy as only he can in conversation with himself. Over 10 brilliantly insightful and often erotic interviews, Ayawati examines Ayawati fully and without mercy, leading a breathless investigation into this once-in-a-generation visionary. This is one of the funniest books I've ever read. If you're a fan of Richard Ayawati as an actor, film director, amateur dentist, or British game show panelist, you should definitely check this out. Memoirs. Down the Drain by Julia Fox. There's this viral clip of Julia Fox calling her book a masterpiece. While I don't think it was a masterpiece, I think it was very enjoyable. Yeah, it's very gripping because how intense it is, but it's not the most well-written memoir, which I don't think should surprise anybody who reads it, but it's definitely not bad. It's worth checking out. 3 stars. The Age of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion. This is my first foray into Didion's work. She kind of just keeps the reader at arm's length the entire time, and I just expected to get a more in-depth look at how she grieved her husband's death. So the book just wasn't what I expected it to be. Therefore, I did not rate it. Self-help. The first one is 10 Arguments for Deleting Your Social Media Accounts Right Now by Jaron Lanier. This book should actually be titled 2 Arguments for Deleting Your Social Media Accounts Right Now, but I pretend it's 10 and I hope you don't notice. I gave this 1 star. If you were previously interested in reading this, I have some other books that I'm about to recommend instead. How to Break Up with Your Phone by Catherine Price. This book is exactly what the title is. It's a how-to guide to beat phone addiction. I gave it 3 stars. It's well written, but nothing revolutionary. I'd say it's worth checking out from the library or Libby if you want to give it a go. Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport. I find that this book balances anecdotal and empirical evidence really well. And actually, Cal Newport has never had social media, so he's approaching this in a very scientific, outsider perspective, which I found very helpful when reading. I gave this 4 stars, and if you're going to choose one book to read about digital minimalism, make it this one. Poetry. Life on Mars by Tracy K. Adams. This won the Pulitzer Prize for Poetry in 2012. I am not surprised. It was gorgeous. 5 stars. Bluets by Maggie Nelson. It's written as a list, a numbered list, where she relates the color blue to her own personal suffering. 4 stars. Bless the Daughter Raised by a Voice in Her Head by Warsan Shire. These are poems of migration, trauma, and womanhood. I enjoyed it and I gave it 3 stars. Short stories. Spy Family. Family Portrait. If you like the anime, this is fun. It came with a poster, so that's cool. I didn't rate it. Middle grade. Touching Spirit Bear by Ben Michelson. I think it was well written. I think there are some good lessons in here for children. And I think it touches on kind of what's wrong with the American social justice system. Just a smidge. However, Cole is annoying and unbearable and gets mad at a bear for not being afraid of him. And I just hated him for maybe 90% of the book, and I think they should have just put his ass in jail, honestly. 2.75 stars. The book that nobody wanted to read by Richard Iowati. This was a very cute, very funny, very British, short little children's book about a little girl finding a book at the library that nobody wanted to read. 3 stars. Millicent Min, Girl Genius by Lisa Yee. This book is very special to me. It's a childhood favorite. It's my first time rereading it as an adult, and it still hits home, and it's just very well written for a middle grade book. I would recommend it to anybody at any age. 5 stars. Young adult. 9 Liars by Maureen Johnson. This is the newest installment to the Truly Devious series. It is also my least favorite installment of the Truly Devious series. It focused more on the romance of the main character rather than the mystery. Do you also hate David? I've never liked David, so I kind of didn't really give a shit about Stevie's relationship troubles. I'm like, just solve the murder. I still gave it 3 stars. I love Maureen Johnson's writing, and it was still a fun book. Some Shall Break by Ellie Marney. This is the sequel to None Shall Sleep, which is about 2 teens who join the FBI to catch some serial killers. These books kind of slap, and they're pretty gruesome for YA, actually. Like, they get kind of gnarly. I liked the first one more, but this one was still pretty good. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. Thriller/horror. Only One Left by Riley Sager. This is Riley Sager's worst book, and you can quote me on that. I hated it. I actually wrote an in-depth review about it and all of Riley Sager's books on my book blog. First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston. This book is very fast-paced and fun, and I think you should go into it completely blind, so I'm not going to say anything else. It's not groundbreaking, but it's a quick and easy read. 3 stars. Horror Star by Grady Hendrix. This is a coffee table book, in my opinion. It's gimmicky and not well written. The book is made to look like an IKEA catalog, and as the story gets more dark, the furniture in the catalog get more demonic, which is cool. So if you collect books, especially if you collect horror books, this will be fun to have on your shelf. But you don't need to read it. It's not worth reading, in my opinion. Black Paradox by Junji Ito. This is manga. This is my first Junji Ito. I didn't really find it scary. I just found it kind of weird. Romance! I listened to both Take a Hint, Danny Brown, and Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. I love Talia Hibbert's writing. It's diverse and sexy and witty, and I want to read some of her backlog. The Flat Chair by Beth O'Leary. Cute and funny, but also dealt with serious topics in a very beautiful way. However, I listened to it on audiobook, and the male narrator was chewing gum or something the entire time. He was making gross mouth sounds, and I don't know how that audiobook got published like that. If you want to read this, don't listen to it. I think I gave it 3.75 stars. Sadie on a Plate by Amanda Elliott. This is about a reality food show competition and the forbidden romance between Sadie, a contestant, and one of the judges. I thought this book was so boring and really slow-paced. If you're a chef or you love cooking shows, you might have fun with this, but I found the really long descriptions of ingredients she needed or recipe ideas to just be tedious. I gave it 2 stars, and I will not read another book by this author. Like Water for Chocolate by Lara Esquivel. I am gutted that I did not like this. I thought this would be a 5-star read for me. It was a 2-star. At the core, this is just a book about child abuse. Hot take. I don't have fun reading about children getting abused. Husband Material by Alexis Hall. This is the sequel to Boyfriend Material that nobody asked for. I have a very in-depth review of it on my book blog, but yeah, I gave it 2.25 stars. Also found out that Father Material is coming out. Will I read it out of spite? Perhaps. Broken Beauty by Kitley Anderson. This is a dark mafia reverse harem romance. It is so bad, I don't want to talk about it. All I can say is that I think it was originally One Direction fanfiction, and then the author decided to add knife play. I listened to both Butcher and Blackbird and Leather and Lark by Bryn Weaver on audiobook. These audiobooks are amazing. The actors are really, really good, so I recommend them. But yeah, these are all over BookTube. You know what they're about. They're romances about serial killers. They're really fun. They're really camp. They're very smut heavy and a little gross. So check out Bryn Weaver's content wordings on her website if you are a little squeamish. I liked Leather and Lark more than Butcher and Blackbird. I just like the characters more. Romantasy. A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon by Sarah Hawley. This is a cozy fantasy romance. It's the first book in a trilogy, but I will not be continuing it. I really hate reading books where the main character does not stand up for themselves, you know, have a backbone, etc. And that was a really big plot point of this book. I liked the romance part of the book, and I thought the magical elements were fun. Also, bonus, one of her best friends is Filipino, and I enjoyed that representation, because guess who else is Filipino? My mom. Yeah, it was just okay. I think I gave it 2.75 stars. I don't think I'll read a book by this author again either. Heroine Complex by Sarah Kuhn. So, things that I liked. It's funny, very cheeky, doesn't take itself too seriously. There's great diversity. The two main characters are both Asian. What I didn't like, the main character, just like the last book, she does not stand up for herself for a good majority of the book, and everyone's just kind of like steamrolling her. I just didn't really like the characters that much. I think I gave it 3 stars. Hexes and Hemlines by Juliet Blackwell. This is the 3rd book in the Witchcraft Mystery Series. It's about a woman named Lily who is a witch, and she also owns a vintage clothing store in San Francisco. And in each book, she solves a new mystery. I gave this 3 stars. Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. I love this book. I had so much fun. Apparently this book is based off of a viral TikTok series. I am not on TikTok, so I didn't find out about it until after I read the book. I love the characters, I love the dialogue, I love the romance, the world building. I just had a really solid, fun time. And the sequel comes out in a couple months, and I'm really excited. So, I give this 4.5 stars. Monster Smut. Hear me out. Ice Planet Barbarians. I read the self-published version of this on Kindle Unlimited, and within the first 10 pages there is a grape scene, so that sucked. I found out that the published paperback version does not have the grape scene, but it does have an extra 130 pages. I don't know what the author could have added in those pages, but it can't be good. Next, I read Morning Glory Milking Farm. This was actually pretty cute. I liked it. I gave it 3 stars. A Soul to Keep by Opal Rin. I gave this 3.5 stars, and I don't want to talk about it. Sci-fi. Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I think I might just not be a sci-fi girly, because this book literally had too much science for me. The main character was always doing like physics equations, and I was terribly bored. I really liked the ending though, and I gave the book 3.5 stars. Literary fiction. Old Enough by Haley Jacobson. I wrote an in-depth review about this on my blog, and Haley Jacobson shared it on her Instagram. That is so nice. She also messaged me and thanked me for my kind words, which is, again, very nice. So yeah, you should read my review, and then you should read this book. 5 stars. Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. I enjoyed this. I love her prose. It's definitely just a character study of 4 people who aren't the most likable, but they're very human. She writes about the human experience very well. I gave this, I think, 4.25 stars, which I know is always specific. Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang. You have heard a million people talk about this book, so I'm not going to talk about the plot, but I will tell you how uneasy this book made me feel. After I finished it, I had like a knot in my stomach, and I felt tense for half an hour. And I think that's amazing that an author can give me such a visceral reaction. I gave this 3.75 stars. Binary Star by Sarah Gerard. I gave a mini review of this on my Goodreads. I gave it 1.75 stars. Oh yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it. Venus in Furs by Leopold von Sacher-Masoch. This is the book that inspired the term masochism. I love the prose of this book, but I found it quite repetitive. Pretty much every scene is Severin begging Wanda, let me be your slave. She's like, no, that's weird, stop it. He's like, no, but please, I want it. And then she does it, and then he's like, surprise Pikachu face. And it's like, you asked for this, buddy. Anyway, I gave it 3.5 stars. Yeah, okay, those are all 44 books I read from January to June. I will make my July TBR pretty soon.